I'm Terry Owens. On this edition of MTA Commuter Connections, we'll be joined by MTA Administrator Ralign to discuss his latest plans to improve transit safety. We'll also tell you about a new security feature being tested on MTA buses. Join us for a ride on the number 15 and see how it works. And we'll get an update on the Ralign project and the important impact it's expected to have on our region. All that, plus your questions in our Ask the MTA segment. It's just ahead on this edition of MTA Commuter Connections. Welcome to MTA Commuter Connections. For this edition, we are on location at MTA's new Multimodal Central Control Center in Baltimore, which, when totally online, will be the nerve center for all MTA services in our region. From here, transit supervisors and management will direct and monitor buses, metro subway, light rail, and trains to keep MTA services operating safely. Of course, your safety and security are paramount to the MTA, the agency constantly looking for ways to enhance its performance. We'll talk with Administrator Ralign in just a moment about his latest initiatives, but first, a look at a pilot program to make the system safer for passengers and employees. With bus operator assaults on the rise across the country, the Maryland Transit Administration is one of a number of transit agencies searching for new ways to enhance the safety of its operators. David Varner is head of MTA's bus maintenance.
One thing we're trying is different types of driver compartment doors, just to offer the operator some form of protection.
The new compartment door would replace existing equipment that is approximately half the size and optional for drivers. With its larger base and glass panel, the new door effectively shields the operator from a possible attack while still providing clear lines of sight and the ability for operators to communicate with passengers. During the pilot phase, the agency is actively soliciting input from drivers.
We'll put it on the bus, we'll pick certain lines, certain operators, and get feedback.
Most passengers seem to barely notice the new compartment door, boarding the bus, paying their fare as usual, and grateful to find a seat on the busy number 15 line.
I think it's a good idea, considering the controversy that they have to go through on a day-to-day basis.
You still can get on and pay your fare easily. It's added safety for him, for sure.
When I noticed the protective glass by the driver, which I think is a very good idea.
Local bus officials say if the new compartment doors are approved, it would take about 6 months to begin installation. Longtime MTA passenger Monica Bates says the operators deserve all the support they can get.
It's difficult for them. It's very difficult. You know, they really shouldn't have to be on the defensive all the time. You know, they should be able to just, do their job, and not go home with a headache every day.
Of course, the person responsible for ensuring that safety and security remain front and center at the MTA is the MTA Administrator, Ralign. Mr. Wells, welcome back to Commuter Connections.
Thank you very much. Good to have you.
There are any number of initiatives underway here at the agency right now, but I want to focus on one that you've launched that is sort of an umbrella for everything that you're doing, and that's the Service Safety Task Force. Tell us about this initiative and how it came about.
Yeah, amongst a number of concerns about safety around the country and transit in general, we launched the Service Safety Task Force just to examine everything that we do to make sure that we're keeping our passengers and our operators and our equipment as safe as possible when they're in service. So this task force is going to examine all our processes that we already have in place and also look at best practices to see whether we should be implementing some of those as well.
Tell us about the makeup of this group.
Yeah, this group is a diverse. We have external stakeholders as well. We have Baltimore City, we have the school police, we have our safety department, we have various departments within MTA. So that way we have a big brain trust to talk about everything. We even have our scheduling department in there in case there's some issues with the schedules that may impact the operation of the service.
You referenced the external stakeholders and their involvement in this process. Why was that important to you?
Well, because everyone is impacted by our service, and we want to make sure that our external stakeholders have a mouthpiece at the table to discuss some of the concerns and also maybe talk about how the service might have an implication on what they do as well. because we do move the city and we have city schools involved in this as well.
So you've charged these guys with reviewing every aspect of the agency from a safety perspective, and they're going to produce a report or something at the end?
Yeah, the hope is that it's going to be an ongoing process, but we will have an initial report. We'll look at that report and make some determinations as to what we can put in place right away. And then as we go, we might have to make modifications of our service plans as we go.
We are seeing issues around the country, as you referenced, and that necessitated the creation of something like this. Give us a sense of some of the challenges that transit properties are encountering.
Well, part of the problem we have right now is we have operator assaults going on, and we also have escalation from the passengers to the operators or both ways. So we want to just make sure that we're doing everything that we can to make sure that that doesn't happen, because our operators are definitely public servants. They're here to serve the community. They enjoy their jobs, but they're not here to be assaulted while they're doing their jobs. They're just enforcing the rules of the service. And as well, we want to make sure that our other passengers have a safe ride and a pleasant experience. We don't want to have altercations through the process of service delivery.
Okay, one of the other initiatives that we just took a look at was the new effort with the new safety or bus compartment doors. Talk about that piece and where you see that going.
Yeah, that's interesting. We see a number of transit properties going to that. They have different types of doors, different styles, different compartments or enclosures, if you will. We are examining multiple different types of enclosures to see which one works best for us. We want to make sure that our operators are safe from potential assaults and potential debris that might be thrown at them. Unfortunately, that's something we have to look at nowadays. But we are examining that. We want to make sure we still have that customer communication and that friendly contact, but we also want to make sure that our operators stay safe.
What kind of feedback have you heard so far?
So far, the operators really like them. They really do. And it's funny because I've seen this position evolve over the years. I mean, at first, no one wanted enclosures at all. But now they're looking for more enclosures to keep them safe because of the unfortunate incidents that have been occurring.
And as a former bus operator, you have watched these evolutions, if you will.
I've watched it evolve, that's correct.
Yeah. Well, I'd be remiss if I let you get away from here before having you say something about this beautiful facility that we're standing in. I know this has been a dream of yours. Talk about
I'll tell you. Terry, I can't tell you how happy I am to see this actually come to fruition. I mean, when I first came to MTA over 20 years ago, I heard this being discussed.
Oh my goodness.
At that time, it would require a much larger facility in order to do that because the equipment had to be so large in order to operate. But now we have flat screen monitors that you can operate an entire main line of a system from that monitor. So we were able to put everybody in one room so we can have, I always say, one band, one sound. We have that synergy here now where we have the bus and the rail people working together. We also have our communication center that can make announcements in case things happen. We have state-of-the-art technology that have health monitoring systems in here so we can forecast when a system might fail and we can send crews there before it actually fails. So I'm really excited that this is coming to a fruition.
So this speaks to that whole initiative around safety because you get everybody in the same room. It allows you to respond a lot quicker.
Absolutely. Service delivery is going to be better. Passenger communications will be better. Our response to incidents will be better. So I think overall the service is going to be much better as a result of this synergy, if you will.
Now this is going to come online in phases, I understand?
That's correct. Metro will be moving in sometime very shortly, and then in future, then the bus department, and then we'll have Mark move in as well. So we'll continue to add more people who are responsible for the operation of our service.
This is a major development for the MTA.
Major development, and it's something that we also see other transit agencies trying to do. So we're on the front end of this.
Administrator Wells, we're always delighted whenever you can make time for us. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll take a break here. There's much more ahead. Up next, MTA police are playing a key role in the administration's new safety initiative. When we return, how the department is working to safeguard the system. Stay with us. We're back in just a moment.